Private equity as an industry is new, and the goal of these interviews is to examine this growing field and its economic impact on all of us. I'm Miriam Verity, author of the book Merchants of Enterprise, a book about Canadian private equity. Our topic today is how to sell a business, and my guest is Larry Klar, partner in the Succession Fund. This fund buys shares in owner-operated businesses. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you, Miriam.
We're glad to have you with us.
My pleasure to be here.
So, Larry, what's the first step a business owner should take to prepare a business for sale?
Well, the first thing the business owner should do is really ask themselves why they are going to sell and when they are going to sell. Selling is very much a process and not an event. Planning for it will yield success and greater value. And so a couple of things need to be done. One is a business valuation, so that there can be an independent, objective assessment of what the business is worth. That will draw out various issues like normalization adjustments and other matters that have to be looked at. It'll focus on risks. And the other thing is that the business owner should have a business plan that speaks to the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats facing the company, with not just an emphasis on the positive aspects of the business and its performance in the marketplace, but specifically looking at risks and challenges and limitations, because those are the questions and issues that a buyer is going to ask. So it's very important to be candid and honest with yourself about those issues.
So once you have an evaluation, how do you make the business attractive to potential buyers?
Well, first of all, it's something that you should do over a period of time. So buyers look, first of all, for a company that's solidly profitable, generating free cash flow, and has a number of other characteristics, many of which are not in place at a company, and therefore it takes time to prepare a company for sale. And an example would be depth of management, customer diversification, entrenched customer relationships, the ability that you've demonstrated to manage through in both good times and challenging times. The identification of things that the business does in a very granular way that act as barriers to entry to competitors. So identifying those issues will facilitate the sale process.
So are there any common mistakes that owners should avoid when they're trying to sell a business?
Yes, and the first is to have a overinflated expectation of the value of their business, because they will not be successful in selling it. So being realistic is important. And it's also important that the owner will have let go of the reins to some extent and is selling a business, not himself. So as we mentioned earlier, the issues of commercial goodwill, the ability of a company to have those characteristics will facilitate its sale. And when they're not present, they will hamper the ability of the owner-operator and the owner-operator's advisor to be successful in the sale of the company. So if there is a over-reliance on the owner who has a disproportionate number of relationships with customers, for example, or if there haven't been updated capital expenditures on new equipment, or if the owner has stripped out all of the profits and the working capital is inadequate to continue running the operations of the company, those are examples that the business is probably not ready for sale and that you will not likely be successful in its sale.
Thank you, Larry, for joining us.
My pleasure to be here today, Miriam.
So here are the key points when you're preparing a business for sale. Get an evaluation. An evaluation is the first step in a business sale. Know what your company is realistically worth. Then, be prepared to explain the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to your business. And lastly, selling a business is a process. Have a game plan well in advance, and don't wait until there's a problem and you're forced to sell. This ends our interview for Private Equity Revealed. Thank you.